Hey guys, welcome back and thanks for tuning in. You're joining me today at the end of an afternoon of long-range plinking. I shot 3 different guns today, my Stag 10S in .308, my long-range rifle from Thompson Center Performance Center in 6.5 Creedmoor, and lastly, the Savage Axis 2 XP. I've done a little bit of a paint job to it, as you can see there, from ClassicFirearms.com. Would you believe, of those 3 guns, only one of them made it to 1,000 yards today? And would you believe that gun is this $350 package that I'm holding in my hands? It's true. I'm going to show you some of the footage and tell you all about it here in a second. Stick around. All right, so first let me apologize for the sound. If the wind kicks up, there's not really anything I can do about it. My external microphone ran out of batteries. All I've got is the onboard mic for this camera here. So bear with a little bit of wind. Hopefully it doesn't get too terrible. But I really got to tell this story. It's pretty interesting. So I set this range up, I don't know, a couple of months ago. I came out here to the desert, did some driving around, did some Google mapping and all that stuff to try to figure out, let me find myself a 1,000-yard range, because I just got this long-range rifle, the TCPC, and in 6.5 Creedmoor, and I'm like, I've got the bug again. I want to do some long range, and I've also got that Stag 10S in .308. I think that can do 1,000 yards. I got the bug. I want to try this again. And it's been years since I've done any long-range shooting. I don't know why. I just got busy with other stuff. But again, I got the bug, and so I decided to scope out a little range where I could do it all. Found myself a safe little strip of desert road that I could come out to, you have to take my word for it that this area is safe out here, and shoot from a hill up on that side over there, and basically mark out 700 yards, 1,000 yards, which is where we are right here, and further out you might see a little speck out in the distance. That's my brand new Action Target gong, 18-inch gong from Action Target. I set that one up at 1,300 yards. Yeah, I was very optimistic. I think I'll bring those targets in a little closer next time I come out. But anyway, so scoped it out, found this little range where I could do some plinking, and decided to come out here for an afternoon of it. And what I discovered was, shooting my my LRR, I nailed the 700-yard target fairly easily, and that's also another Action Target gong. That's the coyote-shaped gong. Love that thing. It's holding up very, very well, by the way. I've put many, many hundreds of rounds of .308, 6.5 Creedmoor, 223, etc. on that thing, and as well as some .357 through my 1873. So it's taken lots and lots of lead, and it's holding up very, very well. I would say that the actual rubber handles or hangers on it are beginning to maybe get chewed up, and in a little while I'll probably replace some of them. But as far as the system overall, the plate is still looking perfect. It's got a few little dings, little pock marks in it, but it's going to last for thousands and thousands of rounds, no doubt about it. And so that's one reason I was happy to get another one from Action Target, the 18-inch circle gong. But I'll show you that in the future. Also, one last side note, this guy right here, this silhouette, was made by my friend Snow Lobo 95 many, many years ago. Good friend of mine from a long time ago. Haven't seen him in quite a while, but still use his target all the time. So, Snow Lobo, you're still with me, my man. And this is the one that I set up here at 1,000 yards. So I guess I was a little optimistic and thinking I'd be able to reach out to 1,300, but decided to try it. Took the LRR and got it to 700 yards pretty easily. Then I started pushing it to 1,000. For whatever reason, it probably had to do with the wind and the ammo. And the ammo I'm using on the LRR is American Gunner Hornady, which is 140 grain. It's fairly easy to come by, fairly inexpensive. It gets about 7/8 inch group at 100 yards for me. And if I use some better, nicer ammo, definitely hand loads, I'm sure it would do much, much tighter than that. But 7/8 is okay, I guess. In any case, at 1,000 yards, I had a really hard time getting on this target. I don't know what the deal was. Again, a lot of West Desert wind that just kind of kicks up and changes direction frequently. So you think you've got your dope and then you don't. And then also the ammo is probably not the best. I think it's a really good rifle. It's got that 5R rifling on it, which I'm excited about. but for whatever reason, I wasn't able to get the results that I was hoping to get with that rifle. Then, of course, moved to the Stag 10 S308. Now, the ammo that I'm using with that gun is probably a mismatch. I'm using 168 grain through that 18-inch barrel. I believe it's a 1 in 10 twist, but whatever the case, it doesn't absolutely love that ammo, so I need to find something better for it. The groups that I've gotten with that thing at 100 yards are nearly 3 MOA. So, you know, between 2.5 and 3 MOA, it's just not shooting that great. So I need to find a better match for it as far as ammo is concerned, and I'll work on that. But I was able to hit occasionally at 700 yards at the Coyote Gong. However, I could not make it out to 1,000, at least not reliably. I think I made my adjustments and I started sort of hitting all around this target, seeing dust fly up in the back, beyond it, next to it, and so forth, but never heard that gong, never saw that splash. Couldn't quite figure out why, but anyway, spent a good number of rounds on that. Finally got tired of it. Then, lastly, since I had it, I brought this guy out. Now this one is shooting this round right here, American Eagle 6.5 Creedmoor, 140 grain open tip match, which is a fairly inexpensive round when you can find it, 140 grain. I've been seeing a lot of the, 120 something grain. Seen a lot of that, but I haven't seen too much 140 grain lately, so I need to keep an eye out for it and grab some more of it. Whatever the case, that ammo seems to be a fantastic match for this gun because we got on target at 700 yards without much difficulty. I think there were a few times we kind of danced around it. One of the things that's a real limitation of this gun package right here is the scope, and I may just break down and replace it. Now, I wanted to shoot this gun exactly as it was for as long as possible, but I think I may be as, you know, I may have done as much as I can do with this thing. So I probably will swap out this scope at some point. Now the scope is Nikon's absolute base model, like the cheapest possible one they make. And I don't think it even has a model name, but it's the one that they kind of put on inexpensive rifles in order to give you a complete package, in quotations, with the expectation that a lot of guys are going to swap them out. But since I've had it, I've been using it exactly as it is, and again, did this today with this scope. So talking about the scope really quickly and kind of the reticle and how I got on this target, I use an app called iStreelock, which is a great way to sort of enter all your data for your gun, your velocity, your grain weight, even your reticle and all that kind of stuff, your scope over bore height and all that stuff, basically everything, and let the app do the calculation for you. So it did that work for me. It told me where I needed to be in that reticle without making any actual adjustments, but where I needed to hold within that reticle in order to get on at 700 yards. And so what I did was I basically just made an educated guess based on the drop of 6.5 Creedmoor and what I think it would do, and held much, much further up. I actually put my reticle, one of the bottom sort of bubbles that are on that reticle, put that all the way out on my 1,300 yard target, and then just held off to the right a little bit to compensate for wind. I took a shot, I saw that the dust was very close to the 1,000 yard target, and so I made some very slight adjustments to my holdover. Took another shot, bango, bango, bongo, nailed this thing. I thought that had to be some kind of a fluke. There's no way that this gun is really a 1,000 yard gun and that I can actually make that shot just using holdovers on this uber cheap scope. No way. So I did it exactly the same. I repeated everything I did. I moved my holdover exactly to the same spot and took another shot. Wouldn't you know it? Ding, again. I was ecstatic. And I was kind of still in disbelief. One, could be a fluke. Two, maybe a confirmation of the fluke. I had to try a third. So I tried a third, and I nailed it again. So we've got 3 hits on this man-sized silhouette at 1,000 yards. And by the way, they're pretty close together. 2 are maybe 3 inches apart, and the third one is probably 9, 10 inches from the first, maybe 11 or 12 inches. But they're fairly close together, so I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. First off, I don't know why my other two guns had such a hard time reaching this. I couldn't figure it out. I was clearly having some difficulty with ammo, with wind, with something. Now, I think the winds did die down a little bit as the evening, well, as we kind of rolled into evening. The sun's setting right about now, so we're about to evening now. And so, yeah, the winds were dying down around that time, so that could have been it, because I was probably shooting the other two guns kind of at the height of the windiness. That could have been part of it. I think ammo had something to do with it. Could it be that the Savage Axis 2 XP is just a really excellent rifle for the money? I think that's also part of it too. By the way, Caldwell bipod, right? Okay, not even the Harris. So I wasn't even using like the original good one. I was using the cheap, more flimsy one. And just setting the buttstock on a bag. That's all I was doing. And then, you know, trying to use good form and trying to be a good trigger man and all that stuff and just kind of maintain my holds. But 3 at 1,000 yards with a $350 rifle, I'm shocked. I'm shocked, guys. So how do I conclude this? Well, I guess I'll just say that if you ever get a chance to pick up a Savage Axis 2 XP in 6.5 Creedmoor, with a scope or without a scope, jump on it, because this is a fantastic rifle. It's possible that you might not need anything better. This is a gun that can do about any kind of hunting I want to do, and it'll go just about anywhere because it's so lightweight. I mean, it's so light. What else is there to say, guys? I don't know. I guess I just highly recommend this gun. That's it. I'm the Late Boy Scout. See y'all later.